All right. Hey everyone, thank you for joining this session today. We're so delighted to have Nithya doing this session today. And Just want to do a short introduction. Most of you probably know one of us, or maybe all of us. We'll do a quick intro of who we are, and in case someone doesn't know one of us, and then we'll hand over to Nithya for the session. So I'm Smita. I live in Florida in the US, and there's Puneet and Shubhra and Nithya on the screen. So Puneet, Shubhra, and I have this heart project called BeeZen that we began in 2024, and we've been offering different things through that: meditation, chanting, healing art. We've been doing it through online courses, workshops, and we've also done in-person sessions, and we're also looking to do coaching, one-on-one coaching. We're already doing some of it. So different things. We keep getting different ideas every day, and we are very excited to get to do this. And of course, we met thanks to Nithya, and so that's the origin of everything here. And so I'll hand over to Shubhra to introduce Nithya a bit.
It's my pleasure to announce who Nithya is because most of you on the call, I think, already know him personally. But just a few words. I think my life has totally changed and enriched because of his presence and the ease that he brings with his teachings. A former forest monk and obviously an MBA from XLRI and worked in corporate sector. But now what he is a presence of genuine, authentic teachings and ways of happiness that we can all imbibe in our life. And for me, the gist for Nithya's presence is the GIST, which is the attitude of gratitude. That's the one thing that he has given me. And the I is the inward focus through meditation, through different techniques. And the S is for, serve or surrender. So when you're strong, you serve. And then when you feel the need, then just surrender. And then in the end, the T is trust the process. So that's the gist. Needs no more introduction. I think there are enough interviews, enough videos if you just Google him. And yeah, I don't know which words can describe it. You have to experience it for yourself. The simplicity and the joy he brings whenever he is there. Thank you so much, Nithya.
Thanks, Shubhra.
Thank you, Nithya, for doing this with us.
Lovely. Should I say a few words, or will Puneet be speaking next?
Puneet, you're on mute.
Thank you so much, Nithya. Please go ahead.
All right, great. So want to warmly welcome everybody. And one of my favorite ways of welcoming people is the highest in me, the silence in me, the goodness in me, the peace in me, the mystery in me, bows to the highest in you, the silence in you, the goodness in you, the mystery in you. That which is most me in me bows to that which is most you in you. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. So warm welcome, everybody. And one of the contexts for this call, of course, we have a certain topic that we're going to be exploring. But one of the contexts for this call is that Rupal and I will be in the US for 2 months. And Puneet has an extraordinary property in the US. And she offered to have a retreat there. So we have 3 days where Shubhra, Puneet, and Smita have put together a really wonderful, well-planned retreat. So those of you who are in the US or you know friends and relatives in the US and you'd like to join, Puneet, can you just say a few more words about the retreat? And then we'll get into what we're doing today.
We've shared about the retreat and, we'll send out the the details one more time. But primarily, it's the location is in Pennsylvania, in Pocono Mountains. It's about a 2-hour distance from New York City and a 2-hour similar distance from Philadelphia. And uh, it's a beautiful property. We can, spend time in nature. We can, we are planning to do meditations, basically coming back to ourselves, connecting with ourselves. And it will be a very enriching uh, and I would say very transformational experience for anybody who would like to, who would like to meet Nithya, spend time with him, and be on this path with us. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right. So with that, I know they spotlighted me, but if you want to see other faces as well, you can just go to gallery view. I like to see everyone's faces when I'm doing a call like this. So again, warm welcome. And even though I'm speaking in this session, where these words are directed are actually not to your mind. They're actually not directed to your thinking process. So just know that. So don't struggle too much to understand everything I'm saying or even memorize everything I'm saying. And just trust that what you need to get from this sharing will be fully received without too much effort. Just want you to trust that. Our usual mode of understanding or the belief we have is you hear something, you understand it, you get inspired, you apply it, then you apply it regularly, persistently, consistently, and you get better at it, and that leads to transformation. But I want you to actually go back in your life and check, is it really true that that's been the way that transformation happened? Go back and check. Some of the most important decisions you made, or that got made for you, right? Was it really this process of you heard something, you saw something, you understood it, you believed in it, you applied it? If you look very carefully, you'll find many of them are just spontaneous. You should actually ask your friends, how did you get into doing what you're doing? How did you find yourself where you are? How do you live where you live? How do you marry the person you married? And if they're very honest, they'll tell you, I just knew. It just happened. This was just annoying. Like, it was just so clear to me. At one point, it was just so clear to me, right? So you could say it happened in an instant, or I would even say it just happened. It doesn't even belong in the domain of time, because we can't say one instant or one moment. So I saw this in myself. Transformation happens almost in a way you could say outside of time. It's not limited to time and space. We like to think it is, because our mind likes to think in terms of cause and effect. In fact, there was once a monk in the Buddha's time who was examining his life and thinking in terms of cause and effect, cause and effect. What led to what led to what led to what. And he had a very powerful mind, so he could not only examine this life, he could even look into previous lives and what happened there and what led to what and what led to what and what led to what. And the Buddha encountered him doing this. He said, stop. That's going to drive you mad. Don't go in that direction. Don't try to figure out what happened, why it happened, who said what, why did they say that, what was behind that. He said, you're just going to drive yourself crazy. Don't go in that direction. So what's a better direction? I'll tell you. It is what it is. Things are the way they are. And that's the way they are. In Hindi we say, jo hai, jaisa hai, waisa hai. This is a simple statement, it's a very powerful statement. It's about coming into alignment with the way things are. And something instantly settles in us when we do that. So one of the key words for today, which I want you to just reflect on, this keyword. The key word for today is resistance. Resistance. Why are we not experiencing ease and flow and grace in our daily life? Well, the answer is one word. It's resistance. We're resisting something. We're resisting something in ourselves, We're resisting something around ourselves. We're resisting something in our experience. I don't even want to say in ourselves, outside ourselves. Even that seems to be a little off. We are resisting something. There, or you could even say there is resistance. Resistance to what? To the way it has been, to the way it is, to the way it will be. And then, of course, the next question will be, yeah, that's right, but how do I get out of the resistance? I'm going to say, don't even go there yet. Slow down. So, right, the moment I'm saying the word resistance, I'm sure all of you to some extent can tune in. Yeah, I can see that at work, at home, with health, with this family member, or with this habit I have, this obsession I have, this trait I have. Yeah, I can sense the truth in what you're saying. There is some resistance. So don't even go to the next step. Okay, how do I get out of this? How do I fix this, change this? Because guess what happens if you go there? You're resisting the resistance. You've suddenly gone 2 levels deep. You're like, okay, yeah, there's resistance. How do I get out of the resistance? You see? That's how it goes. So I want you to just stay here. Just notice, yeah, it's true. So now listen to this powerful statement. I think this is one of the most powerful statements I know. Would you be willing to relax the notion? Would you be willing to relax the notion that a single particle in the entire universe needs to behave differently? Just feel into that. Would you be willing to relax the notion that a single particle in the entire universe needs to behave differently? There was an incident that happened when I was a monk. I lived as a monk for a few years, which had a big impact on me. And I think the impact is still unfolding in many ways. So I had been doing a practice called Metta Bhavana. Metta Bhavana means loving kindness meditation. So in this practice, you generate thoughts and feelings of love and appreciation for yourself, and then the people around you, and then your loved ones, and then the neutral people in your life, and even the people you don't like, and then at some point for everybody in the world. And I've been doing this practice for a few weeks, but on this particular day, it was, you could say, like the well had gone dry. Like there was, it was just feeling very fake, right? May I be happy, may you be happy. It was just feeling very fake. It was like empty words. And I was feeling, yeah, I'm saying this, but it's just like parroting. Like I'm parroting words, I'm parroting ideas, but nothing's really happening. It's like the well had run dry, or there's no fuel in the tank of the car. The car's not moving, right? So at some point I gave up. It's okay, it's not happening. So in the evening, I was listening to a talk by one of my teachers. It was a recorded talk. And in that, it's almost like, these things happen sometimes, synchronicity. You might experience it in your life, where if you're really intently asking something, life has a way of responding. And in different ways. Sometimes it's through the words of someone, sometimes it's just something you watch on television. Could be anywhere, could be through a book, could even be through a newspaper, could be anything. So because I was intensely looking in that direction, in a way, my teacher kind of answered that. One of his talks, he just played a random talk, and he said a simple line that if you are unable to love, then love your inability to love. If you're unable to love, then love your current ability to love or your inability to love. It's like, oh, wow, so cool. Like he just went one level deep, right? And right away I relaxed because I was judging myself, okay, I'm not working, I'm not practicing hard enough, or it's a blockage in me, or who knows what it is, some trauma or whatever it is. But just something just instantly relaxed. So can you see what he did? It's very similar to the statement I said a little while ago. Would you be willing to relax the notion that a single particle in the entire universe needs to behave differently. So now let's expand this. Let's double click on this idea, right? Love your current ability to love. Trust your current ability to trust. This is a new one that Shubhra said at the beginning of the session. GIST. I've never heard that before. So G is gratitude, right? So can you be grateful for your current capacity to be grateful? Or are you going to judge your capacity to be grateful? I should be more grateful. I should be more grateful. And then again, you're creating a should. Again, you're creating, at least in this moment, you created resistance, right? Or you've made it into a to-do, right? Like a session like this, we've talked about, sharing with you practices. Practices are a double-edged sword. On one hand, they're amazing and they really move you forward. But on the other hand, as long as there's a sense of doership, I did the practice, then there will be a backlash. For 1 month, I practiced gratitude every morning. This morning I forgot, or this morning I was lazy. Oh no, I've lost my rhythm. I've lost my streak. So now this has also become a to-do, right? I've got to do my gratitude. I've got to write my gratitude journal. I've got to write my affirmations. So for me, at least, I don't know about some of you, maybe super disciplined. I'm not one of those super disciplined people. So, yeah, Shubhra, go ahead. What do you think?
I was just saying G for gratitude, don't change into G for guilt.
Beautiful. Well said. Love it.
And you never heard, I made it up. Just as I was thinking of your teachings, you have so many.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, it's such a big list. So I said, what is the gist of it? So then I thought, okay, wordplay,
It's so
let's
good.
just do gist. So
I think it's brilliant what you've done there.
thank you. Otherwise, we can go all alphabetically and it will still not end. So
So well said.
your teachings, right? So thank you for that. So G for guilt, I think creeps in with practices. So
So
G
true.
for gratitude will replace it. Thank you.
So, like Shubhra is saying, there are two ways to practice. One is I practice to fill my life with positive energy, with a sense of peace, with a sense of contentment. And what I'm offering you today is a different perspective. What I'm offering you is you practice to practice. Huh? You're grateful just to be grateful. You're not grateful to improve your life or to improve your relationships or to improve your mood. Or nowadays there's this idea of law of attraction. If you're grateful for what you want before it happens, then you'll get it. So now this is a very advanced form of manipulation. I will be grateful for my goals, and then I will achieve my goals, right? I mean, do it, but do it with zero expectations is what I would suggest. Do it with zero hope that you will attain anything. Just do it. Just have fun. It's a wonderful thing. Be grateful for what you want before it happens. Wonderful. But take out the idea that you'll get more. In fact, there was a statement I used to say in my workshops, and somebody added another dimension to it. So I used to say that whatever you're grateful for, you attract more of, right? So for example, if I'm grateful for friends, I'll attract more friends. If I'm grateful for money, I'll attract more money. If I'm grateful for knowledge, I'll get more knowledge, right? Then a friend of mine said something very interesting. She said, Nithya, you always say that, whatever you're grateful for, you attract more of. But isn't it more true to say, or also true to say, that whatever you're grateful for, you experience more of? So let me explain that. If I'm grateful for my friends, I experience my friends more completely. Just try this wherever you're sitting. If you're grateful for the place you're sitting in, could be your home, could be your office, wherever you're, some of you may be in a car. If you're grateful for where you are right now, then you experience it more. If you're grateful for your body, then you experience it more. Wow, it's almost like one filter went away. One filter of judgment went away. One filter of resistance went away. One filter of taking for granted went away. One curtain got opened. Oh, so good. When you're grateful for your family, you experience your family. Otherwise, you're not seeing your family. You're just seeing your shoulds and coulds and woulds. One practice I've done many times when I travel, I go to people's homes sometimes, and around the dining table, I'll say, okay, let's do a little gratitude practice. So think, what is that about? I say we're going to say three things we appreciate about everyone on the table. We usually start with the youngest person, right? So everyone says three things. Let's say there's a girl called Radha, right? So everyone will tell Radha three things they appreciate about. And Radha has to hear it. And Radha can't, by the way, sometimes you say, no, I'm not like that. And you never say that otherwise. No. Radha simply has to say, thank you. How wonderful. Thank you. How wonderful. That's all she has to say. So now everyone says three things they appreciate about Radha. Then they go to the next one. Maybe she has a brother called Pankaj. Everyone says three things they appreciate about Pankaj, including Radha, who normally fights with him. And then Pankaj says, "Oh, wonderful, thank you." And like this, we go around the whole family. And it doesn't take too long, maybe 20 minutes, maybe half an hour. But can you imagine the energy in the room? And one of the most common things I hear is, we should do this more. Or why don't we do this? Right? You can imagine some of you are kind of understanding what's happening here. That we never talk about these things. It's like, and the most common thing I say is, this is in our hearts, but it doesn't come to our lips. It's just inside of us. So whatever you are grateful for, you experience more of. That's also true. So you can see the power of this loop that's happening. So I want to say, trust your present ability to trust. Surrender to your current ability to surrender. Or I would even say, what is surrender? By surrender, I mean trust that higher intelligence, that higher power, whatever you want to call it. The intelligence that's operating everything. So surrender your current capacity to surrender, or even surrender your incapacity, your inability to surrender. That's also a really good one. I can't. I'm too much of a control freak. I'm sorry. I just can't trust. I need to. It's all right. Then you trust that. Wow. I had a retreat in Bali once, and a lady had come, and she said, Nithya, I don't know if you remember, but 2 years back I had emailed you. And actually she sent me a Facebook message. I sent you a Facebook message, and I wrote you a long message about how I'm very angry with my husband because of certain things he's done, and I'm literally on the verge of a breakup, literally on the verge of ending the relationship. And I respect you and I respect your teachings, so I've reached out to you for guidance. But P.S. Do not ask me to forgive him. She's trying to preempt what I was going to say. P.S. I found that very funny. Do not ask me to forgive him. So she said, you had replied to my message, and a very simple reply. You said, yes, don't forgive him. But can you forgive yourself for your inability to forgive? Can you forgive yourself for your current ability or even inability to forgive? Wow. She said, something unlocked in me in that moment. And 2 years later, here I am attending your retreat. Something shifted, and life is so much amazing, so much better. Things have moved since then. So the deeper thing I'm saying here is the word namaste, which is an Indian word, which most of us are familiar with. But to a Western ear, or a person who's not aware of the Hindi language, Sanskrit language, namaste sounds very much like no mistake. Namaste. So you might hear no mistake. And actually, I think that's a very nice way, even though it's in a way a misunderstanding, it's actually a deeper understanding. I got this from one of my teachers, Byron Katie. She was in California, she had an awakening. And she did not know any spiritual jargon, nothing. So people began coming to her, and on the door, some of them would say namaste. And she would hear no mistake. She's like, whoa, that's wise. Come on in. Like, why do you even come to me? You know everything. Because if you and I understand that there are no mistakes, now, what else is there to think and learn and figure out? I mean, that's basically it, right? No mistakes. No mistakes. No mistakes. So you could even go through life instead of saying namaste, namaste in your mind, saying no mistake. It's no mistake that all of you are here right now, that we are having this interaction. There's no mistake. And what's the deeper meaning of that? You're in the right place, at the right time, doing the right thing. You're hearing exactly what you need to hear right now. You're agreeing and disagreeing with it to the exact amount level that you need to do right now. Can you see what a powerful state of being that is? No mistake. No mistake. Something will instantly unravel in you every time you say no mistake. No mistake. No mistakes in the universe. No mistakes in the micro details of my life. I have an intuition, I don't know if it's true or not, but I have an intuition that when you and I leave this life ends basically, right? When you and I end this life, we leave our mortal coil, the coil of this body, which is based on earth, water, fire, air, and space. I have a deep intuition that we will instantly realize no mistakes. I don't know if you're allowed to say holy shit after we die. Holy shit. No mistakes. Because you'll see the whole picture, right? You'll not just see that one little corner of the whole picture. Oh my goodness, it all makes sense now. All those rough edges I had, that was perfectly required to fit into the jigsaw. I don't know if you've ever admired a carpet, especially a nice hand-woven carpet. And if it has nice popping, very contrasting, very popping colors. Why do colors pop? Because there are some colors, and then there are some colors which are very opposite of that color. It's a very contrasting color, right? It's a popping color. Now imagine you're a black thread. And your whole life you felt, I'm a black thread, I'm a black thread. What's wrong with me? Why am I like this? Why am I so irritable? Why do I get so angry? Why can't I keep any relationships? Why can't I manage my money better? Why can't I? And you spend your whole life thinking you're a black thread. We say black sheep, black sheep. And you spend your whole life like that. And then when you died, you suddenly saw the whole carpet and you said, holy shit. That black thread was part of the design. It was part of a much bigger design, but I never saw it because I was so caught up in my little, I'm a black thread, I'm a black thread, I'm a black thread. The purpose of sessions like this, or any practice you do similar to this, is that you don't have to wait until death to get that understanding. You can get it a little bit earlier. Why do we have sessions? Why do we have a retreat like the one we're planning? So you have those holy shit moments a lot earlier. Holy shit. No mistakes. Namaste, namaste, no mistakes. So then you bow to life. My goodness, it's incredible. What I was judging in myself was a necessary part of the pattern. And I'm not just making it up. I've seen this happen again and again in my life. Things that I've judged in myself. From a broader perspective, I realized, my goodness, that was necessary. That was necessary. Like when I was a monk, I would judge myself for reading too much. I would go to a monastery library and, pick up this book and that book. And then if you open the book, the teacher says, literally the teacher is saying, don't read so much, meditate. But I can't help reading, right? I'm reading and reading and reading. And I'm feeling guilty that, I've become a monk. I should be meditating more. All this time, like I know it, like what am I reading? I already know this stuff now. There's no end to intellectual curiosity, right? I'm reading all the different authors. They're all saying the same thing, right? So this self-judgment that I should be meditating more, I should be meditating more, I should be reading less. But I couldn't help it. And I would read. But when I look back today, I said, well, that also had its place. That also had its place. There was our teacher had another Western monk, and he once asked him something. He said, when these villagers come, I noticed that just in a few days, they achieve so much. They go so deep in their meditation. Sometimes they're sitting there for hours. The experiences they share with you are so bewildering, mind-blowing. I've been a monk for so many years. I haven't had any of those experiences. These simple villagers with almost no education, or sometimes no education, they come. And they get so much, they seem to make so much progress. So he says, what is that about? So Ajahn Chah, this teacher of ours, he smiled and he said, they have a small house to clean. You've studied a lot. You've done your schooling, you've done your college, you've done your master's, you've done your PhD. You've got a big house to clean. A lot of concepts there. So they've got a small house to clean. It doesn't take them long. It's done, right? You got a big house to clean. But then he said, their house cannot accommodate many people. Yours will take a lot longer to clean, but you'll be able to accommodate many more people, many different kinds of people, right? So when I look back, I say, wow, that also had its place, right? So life, for whatever reason, made me kind of intellectually curious and read this and read that and read many different philosophies and teachings and teachers and everything. And as a result, it seems to be the case that with a wide variety of people from different cultures, different backgrounds, different occupations, different age groups, there seems to be some resonance. Oh, no mistake. Holy shit. No mistake. No mistake. No mistake. Something settles down. Yesterday, I wrote this little post, a little definition of happiness, not happiness, meditation. And a lot of people really liked it. A lot of people messaged me, think, wow, that's one of the best definitions of meditation I've ever heard. So let me share it with you. See how this lands on you. I'm going to say it slowly. Meditation is the relaxed recognition that everything happens by itself. Meditation is the relaxed recognition that everything happens by itself. So when you're hearing a statement like that, at least momentarily, the volume of your doership went down a little bit. What is the doership? I am the doer. I am the thinker. I am the speaker. I am the decider. I am the actor. I do it. I do it. I do it. So when you do it, now you've given an address, right? I did it. So now you are going to receive both the awards, the accolades, and the brickbats because you did it. So both the ups and the downs will be delivered to your address because you did it. Right? But when you realize that it's happening, starting with the most, in a way, significant event was your birth. It just happened. Your birth just happened. Birth just happened. And then after that, the process of breathing just happened. And then suckling your mother's breast. I was very fascinated to find, I don't know how many of you here are doctors, but there is a fascinating thing I was told that there are some doctors who believe the best thing to do after childbirth is not to cut the umbilical cord right away. That's the most common practice. You take out the baby, then you quickly cut the umbilical cord. So no, don't cut the umbilical cord. They take out the baby and they put it on the mother's breasts while the umbilical cord is still attached. And what they found is the baby will find its way to the mother's breast. This is a newborn kid who knows nothing about the world. But that much of a deep instinct is there. It'll find its way to its mother's breast. And meanwhile, the umbilical cord, whatever liquid is there, is just little, completely drains out. And when it completely drains out, which may take 10, 15, 20 minutes, I don't know how long, half an hour, that's when you cut the umbilical cord. So no rush, no hurry, no urgency. And I was amazed that really, is it true? A newborn baby knows how to find its mother's breast. That is a very deep level of instinct. The bees know how to find the flowers. The baby knows how to find the mother's breast. I think you and I will figure out where we have to land up. We don't have to break our head so much, I feel. The idea that you need to know, somebody defined ego in a very interesting way. Ego is the desire to know, the desire to do, and the desire to control. Wow, that's the ego. I need to know, I need to do, I need to control. And when we meditate, whatever form of meditation doesn't really matter, but ultimately it's taking you to a place of, what do I really know? What do I really know? Like, yeah, it just is. What is there to do? It's just happening. And it's always inherently out of control. I read this line a few days ago, which I found very powerful. I'm going to say it to you. And just, I'm going to be quiet after I say it, right? Just see the impact it has on you. So this line comes from one of my teachers, Byron Katie. So she says, we don't know what we believe until we say it. So we say it, then we realize, oh, that's what I believe. It comes out of our mouth. And that's when we realize, okay, that's what I think. That's amazing. Right? So somebody asks you an opinion about something. What do you think about golf? Right?
Come on.
Yeah. Somebody, maybe Smita, you can just temporarily mute everybody. We can unmute them later. So we don't know what we believe until we hear ourselves saying it. Then that's when, yeah, that's what I believe. After we said it. And those words just came out of our mouth. I like this, I don't like this, I agree with. Yeah. Mute again. Yeah. So just test this one out. Test this one out. I don't know what I believe until I hear myself say it. Oh, looks like that's what I believe. So the relaxed recognition that everything is happening by itself. Relaxing the notion that a single particle in the entire universe needs to behave differently. No mistake, no mistake, no mistake. What if there's no mistake? What happens to resistance when you hear me say things like that? You might find you stop resisting your current level of resistance. Maybe that's enlightenment, actually. And then enlightenment is not no resistance. Enlightenment is deeply accepting your current level of resistance. Maybe enlightenment is not complete surrender. No. Enlightenment is surrendering to your current level of surrender. It's not about being 100% grateful for every single thing in the universe. It's about being grateful for as grateful as you are right now. Loving your current capacity to love. This is what it means to trust the process. So in the beginning, Shubhra said just gratitude, inward looking, right? Turning the attention back to its source. I'll say a little bit more about that in a bit. Serving and surrendering. Serving is the out-breath. Surrendering is the in-breath. When strong, serve. When unsure, surrender. When strong, serve means some energy is built up in you, right? Like, for example, to offer this retreat, some energy got built up in Shubhra and Puneet and Smita and me. Oh, let's do this. Amazing. So energy is built up in us, and now it's coming out in the form of maybe a retreat. Or maybe something else, like even this session today. Some energy built up in us, and here we are, poof, and we have a session like this. So when energy builds up in you, it wants to come out. Let it come out. Don't calculate. Don't calculate. What is calculation? Okay, I'll do this, but what will I get? Has the sun ever said, I'll give you sunlight, but what are you going to give me back in return? You know what you give it back? You give it sunscreen and sunglasses in return. Sun should be very disappointed with all of you. Horrible people. Curtains and sunshade, and even your car has got these filters and everything. Sunscreen, sunglasses. The sun should stop shining on all of you right away. Nonsense. Bad behavior. Huh? And the earth supports you every minute. What do you give it back? Different kinds of shoes. I refuse to touch you. When was the last time you guys walked bare feet? Different shoes, high heels. Only my toes are going to barely touch you. Sneakers, thick soles, bouncy sneakers. Right? So the earth is supporting you, but we refuse to touch. The earth should say, no more supporting you. You go fly off in the air now. No more gravity for you. No, so just be the way you are, right? Just so whatever's coming, let it come. And doesn't matter how many takers there are for it. You just shine your light. And maybe there'll be many takers, maybe there'll be few takers. Some of the greatest minds in history, in their time, nobody cared for them. Some of the greatest scientists, some of the greatest philosophers, Galileo, a scientist, was fully, humiliated. Socrates was said, please drink the hemlock, please kill yourself. You're misguiding the youth. Right? So all right, maybe you're going to be one of those misunderstood, those what's it called? Those Van Gogh, I think Van Heusen, Van Gogh, Van Gogh, whose paintings sell for millions after his life, right? We don't know, but just be yourself. Serve. What is serve? Just express the unique fragrance and frequency that you are. And don't calculate so much, what am I going to get back for it? You'll get what you need to get. You need to get a lot, you'll get a lot. You need to get less, you'll get less. It's all right. Do your best and leave the rest. Actually, we can't calculate our influence. You have no way of knowing your influence. Some of us will have a wide reach. Some of us will have a deep reach. What is wide reach? Many, many people are touched by you. What is deep reach? Just a few people, but so deep. So deep. Transform something to the core. Yeah, T stands for trust. T stands for trust the process. So before today's session, I got a kind of image in my mind. And I want to just share my screen. I kind of drew it out. So before I go to that image, this is something I want you to just notice right now. The space, wherever you're seated, wherever you are, there are many things in your environment. If you're inside, indoors, there are many things. If you're outdoors, there are many things. And how do you know it's a thing? Like, for example, I can see a tissue box there. How do I know it's a tissue box? Because there's something around it that's not a tissue box. I can see a door there. How do I know it's a door? Because there are things around it that are not a door. So I'm good at noticing specific things, specific sounds, specific things I can see or feel. But usually I'll miss noticing the space. So chances are I'll notice the things in the room, but not the space in the room. Some of you are intently listening to what I'm saying, but you might be missing the whole atmosphere that's getting created here. We're so fixated on what is Nithya saying? What is he teaching? What are the good things he's saying? Is there any practice here I can apply in my life? And we're missing the whole atmosphere. It's the atmosphere that's actually more transformational than the specific things that are said or not said. So now this is what I wanted to show you, right? So to start with the lower part of this picture, we have this sort of a body. So you have hands. You maybe look down, you'll see, maybe that's your situation. There's hands, there's a chest, there are two legs, The funny thing is you can't see your head. Like I can see my chest, I can see my hands. I can't see my own face. That's quite interesting actually. So there's legs, there's chest, there's hands, but then above that, there's just a room. So there's a room. And in the room, there are many things. And I've kind of, in this picture, I've blown it out more. So what are the things in the world? The things like money, family, house, car, friends, knowledge, my appearance, my reputation, my status, the knowledge I have, the things I know. And for many of us, the quality of our life is about the quality of these things. How's family life going? How's the money situation going? How's the health situation going? Right? How's the reputation? How's the reputation situation going? How's the job situation going? So one of the things I discovered in my journey is that, okay, that could be one way, but it looks like a lot of juggling, right? I've got to manage the family, got to manage the job. Sometimes job is at odds with family, right? Got to manage the family, got to manage the job, got to manage my health, got to manage my finances, got to manage my hobbies, got to meet friends once in a while. Oh, that's a lot of juggling. Oops, lots of juggling. How are you going to juggle? And now, Nithya might share a few new things. I've got to put that into the mix. He's going to say, okay, put gratitude into your day. Okay, maybe deep breathing is important. We should meditate at least 10 minutes a day. So for me, that's a really complicated way of going about it. And I would like to suggest that maybe it's actually not so complicated, that my well-being depends on all of these things being in balance. And of course, the sense of doership is there. So I've got to call my friends, like once upon a time, maybe some of you are in that situation. Once upon a time, I had a commitment. I would call all my friends on their birthdays. First of all, I remember all their birthdays and then call them on all their birthdays. Oh my goodness. It was a lot to keep. And then I have a lot of people I know, right? Uh, at least for me, I couldn't sustain that. Maybe some of you can sustain it. I just dropped it. I thought, okay, it's okay. That's not the way I want to be. That's not the way I want to keep in touch with my friends, to make it a point to call them on their birthdays. There are other ways. That didn't work for me, at least. Maybe it works for some of you. That's great. What comes naturally to you? I like these 3 words. If you want to write them down, if you have a piece of paper, you can write down these 3 words. Otherwise, just hear them. It's fine. The 3 words are effortless, spontaneous, natural. Natural, effortless, spontaneous. So I want to offer, instead of all of these 100 different things to manage, be the way you are, right? Be the way you are. So if you like to read a lot, read a lot. If you like to be outdoors a lot, be outdoors a lot. If you're very good at keeping in touch with friends, please keep in touch with friends. And don't judge that one friend who doesn't call you back that often and doesn't remember your birthday. Let them be the way they are. Because you can't help the way you are, they can't help the way they are. No mistakes. Some are quiet, some are talkative, some are introverted, some are extroverted. Some have high energy, some have low energy. Some are morning people, some are evening people. Some are very ambitious, some are not. So my question for you would be, where are you most effortless, most spontaneous, and most natural? Or you could even say joyful. What comes joyfully to you, naturally to you, effortlessly to you? And I'm going to suggest that's what you need to do. Nothing else. And someone will say, no, Nithya, life is not like that. There are many things we have to do that we're not, that we're not natural, that we're not spontaneous. There are other things that have to be done. And I'm going to ask you a sharp question. Is that true? Where did you pick up that notion from? Where did you pick up that idea from? You created some should in your life. No, I have to. That has to be done. Really? Just like I let go of the should. I'll tell you one more should I let go of. I should remember the name of everyone I've met before. I meet a lot of people actually in my kind of work. And I've relaxed that idea that I need to remember everyone's name. Because it occurred to me, whose job is it to remember someone's name? It's their job to remember their name, not mine, actually. It's their job, not my job, right? So either I remember or I don't. If I remember, fantastic. If I don't, then say, hey, remind me your name. You don't remember my name? I spent 2 weeks with you 2 years ago. You don't remember my name? Yeah, I don't. Tell me. Do you know your name? Tell me your name. I'm not gonna get guilty about it. Right? Like this is an unnecessary expectation that I've put onto myself. I need to remember people's names. I don't need to remember people's names. Whose job is it to remember their names? And isn't it lovely to not have a name, not remember the name, just be beyond the name? And in India, at least, name comes packed with all kind of other stuff. Name tells you your gender. Name tells you a little bit about the religion. Name tells you a little bit about your, which part of the country you're from. Name is giving you a shape. And I want to meet that part of you that has no shape. That's where we really connect. So if you look at this, you'll see there's a lot of black kind of around this slide. There's a lot around it. And what is that black? It's actually pointing to the unknown. So above what I can see is the unknown. To the left of what I can see is the unknown. To the right, below, behind, in front, it's the unknown. Beyond the bubble of everything I can see is a vast unknown. Of course, I can imagine that beyond this room, there's another building, and beyond that, there's a city. That's my imagination. But without imagination, I don't know what's beyond my visual field. I don't know what's beyond my auditory field. I don't know what's beyond my sensory field, like smelling and tasting and touching. And I don't know what's beyond the bubble of my thinking, my memory, my intention, my knowledge. There's a big unknown. There's a vast unknown. My life is like a tiny bubble floating in an ocean of the unknown. I don't know where I came from. I don't know where I was before I was born. No clue where I'm going to go after I die. I don't know who's having this experience. Of course, I say me, I, but I don't know who this I is, what this I is. Beyond me saying you, I don't really know, beyond your body and your thoughts and your emotions and your ideas. I don't really know who you are. You're a big mystery to me. So in all directions I look, I see a vast unknown. There's an ocean of unknown. Could it be? Here's a powerful question. Could it be what I'm looking for is not in this bubble of the known, is not in the bubble of seeing and hearing and smelling and tasting and touching and feeling and thinking? Would you be open to the possibility that what you are seeking is not to be found in this bubble? Just be quiet with me for a moment. Would you be willing to allow what's happening inside this bubble to happen by itself? Seeing to happen by itself? Hearing to happen by itself? Smelling, tasting, touching? thinking, intending, remembering, forgetting? Would you be willing for it to happen by itself? Would you be willing to allow thoughts to happen by themselves, words to happen by themselves, actions to happen by themselves? Would you be willing to allow decisions to make themselves? Would you be willing to lose interest in what's happening inside this bubble? It's not a negative thing. Just let it be. You're as interested as you're interested. You're as preoccupied as you're preoccupied. You're as caught up as you're caught up. You're as attached as you're attached. You're as purposeful as you're purposeful. You're as happy as you're happy. You're as emotional as you're emotional. You're as content as you're content. It is the way it is. जो है, जैसा है, वैसा ही है. Put down the burden to the extent that you can put down the burden. And nothing more is asked from you than that. So in a way, that's the gist. That's the gratitude for what is. That's the inward looking. Not just looking out at manifestation, but looking inward at the source, the mystery, the seer. Not just the seen, but the seer. Not just the content of my experience, but the fact of my experience. And we serve by just being our natural self. Just be the way you are. You serve by being the way you are. Doesn't matter how many people's lives you touch, and you actually can't calculate that. You don't know what impact you're going to have. If you look in history, the people who had the biggest impact, the people they learned from didn't have such a big, they weren't really known, that well known, right? The teachers of these big teachers were often not that known. They're very quiet. So we don't know. We don't know any of that. It's just going to happen the way it's going to happen. And now everything's fresh because, like, I don't know what I'm going to say next. Right? I don't know what's going to happen next. It's always fresh. The movie is always fresh. I don't need to control it. I don't need to know what's going to happen next. I don't need to do anything apart from what I do. I don't need to control any more than I can control. And I don't know about you, but at least for me, the restlessness went down quite a bit. And now, by all means, let's do all these practices that we like to do, right? You want to meditate, you want to have a deep conversation, you want to walk in nature. But you're coming from a place of fullness. You're coming from a place of okayness. You're not trying to fill your cup. Your cup's already full. Or your cup's already empty and you don't need to fill it. Right? We're not trying to get anywhere. Where are you going to get to? How are you going to make that journey from where you are to where you are? If you imagine you need to be somewhere else, is that really true? What happens when you believe that? When will you make that journey from where you are to where you are? So in today's session, I've actually not offered you any great approaches to change the pattern of your life. Because I don't think you need to. I don't believe you need to. And if you want to, by all means, do that. So that's a deeper pattern, the pattern of wanting to change the pattern of my life. Well, that's the broader pattern then. Like being a seeker, many of us consider ourselves seekers. Seeker is a pattern. To be a seeker is a pattern. All right. Then that's the current pattern. No need to change it. What you're looking for is beyond patterns. Patterns require maintenance, sustenance, input and output, right? It's a lot of work. So how about you hand over this organizing of patterns to the intelligence that manages all patterns? So I want to say that you don't have a name, you don't have a shape, you're not a thing. You neither come nor do you go. In fact, things come and go in front of you, but you never come and go. In fact, even birth and death is a happening, but not to you, to itself. Can you sense what I'm saying? You can't understand what I'm saying, of course, but can you sense what I'm saying? Like I said, today's session was never directed to your thinking mind. Your thinking mind's going to get tired at some point. What is he talking about? It's meant to. Your doing mind, but what am I supposed to do? And you'll not know what to do. And it's meant to be that way. And so if I manage to frustrate your ego at least a little bit, I've done a good job. And if I've managed to at least a little bit make you curious that, yeah, oh, what if nothing happens, needs to happen? Maybe I've already arrived and I'm exactly in the place I need to be. Then I would say sadhu, 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 which means, and so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Tathastu, tathastu.